Hello again. Last week, a man who had served a prison sentence for possession of a firearm with intent to cause fear was driving a car which had been involved in an incident involving firearms. When the police tried to stop the vehicle, the driver accelerated and tried to escape. After the police cars overtook his car and brought it to a halt, the driver then tried to ram the police cars aside and was heading at an armed police officer on foot who, feeling his life was in danger, fired a single shot through the windscreen, which killed the driver. Unfortunate, yes, but rather brought on by the victim, I think. Nevertheless, on Saturday there was a march through London by supporters of the Black Lives Matter movement. This may be seen in the thumbnail to this video. I want to consider for a moment the claim that Black Lives Matter. Black lives indisputably matter, and nobody would deny it for a moment. But I feel compelled to ask which Black lives matter, and why demonstrations and marches only take place regarding one or two of these black lives. The truth is that a large number of black people die violently in London each year, quite a few of them as a result of being shot. So far this year, 7 black teenagers have been killed by shooting or stabbing. In the description to this video, I give a few links relating to statistics about homicides in the capital, that is to say murder and manslaughter. Overall, about 45% of these homicide victims are black. In some kinds of death, those from shooting, for example, 2/3 of the dead people are black. Since only 13% of the population in London are black, this tells us that black people, specifically young black men, are at far greater risk of being killed than any other group. Their chances of being shot are hugely disproportionate. Black people are certainly far more likely to be deliberately killed than white people. Does this provide a justification for the concerns of the Black Lives Matter movement? Well, it would, of course, if all these black people were being killed by white supremacists or racist police officers. But they're not. They are almost invariably killed by other black people. This does not, of course, make their deaths any less tragic, but it does rather alter the case and make us ask how that awful death toll can be reduced. Marching through the streets and demanding that the police take action is all well and good, but when the police do take action, such as stopping and searching people for weapons, there are furious accusations of racism from black people. To see the nature of the problem, I give a link to the details of every homicide in London this year, all 71 of them. It was last updated yesterday, and a quick look will soon show that black people are greatly overrepresented as murder victims. It is when one looks at the names of those charged with their killing that the awful truth emerges. Donovan Allen, 18, was stabbed to death in Enfield on February 7th. Timothy Adeoye was charged with his murder. Lesma Jackson, 84, was found injured at a house in Enfield and subsequently died. Her son, Gareth Jackson, was charged with her murder. Mohammed Mahdi was stabbed to death in Barnet on 18th of February. Christian Adam Kudadanku was charged with his murder. I could go on, but I invite viewers to look at those links for themselves. Black people in London are far more likely than any other ethnic group to lose their lives as a result of violence, but those killing them belong to that same ethnic group. If we accept, and I do, that Black Lives Matter, then surely we must ask who is responsible for taking those lives. It's pointless seizing upon one case which involves the possibility of a white person being responsible for the death of a black person and ignoring all those scores of others where the murderers are black people. On the face of it, it looks very much as though something terrible is going on in the black community, that they are shooting and stabbing each other. If this is what is happening, then it is indeed a problem which must be dealt with, but that would require the open cooperation of black people themselves and some pretty deep soul searching to try and see what is going on. Is it something to do with the high prevalence of single-parent households among Africans and Caribbeans? Does the absence of a father figure have any bearing on the way that some boys drift into gangs? Can police stop and search help prevent the carrying of guns and knives? Black lives do matter, but until we are honest about who is responsible for ending them abruptly and violently, there seems little chance of reducing the number of black murder victims.